Welcome to SveNFL.
What's up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins.
Skip, sorry.
And we're two Americans living in Sweden talking about the Super Bowl. Almost hit the Travis Kelce button, but it just felt wrong. It felt wrong to have Travis Kelce involved, and it don't get no better than that, baby, because it gets a lot better than what the Super Bowl was. And as a neutral fan, I mean, I'm happy for, shout out to the Eagles fans out there. I got some Eagles fans in my life. I was happy for them. I was happy for Saquon Barkley, who won Super Bowl on his birthday. But as a neutral fan, I was not happy for myself, who got up at midnight to watch a blowout. A team not scoring until midway into the third quarter and all that shit. So that was it was a bummer in that aspect. Would have been, I don't know. It was obviously the right team won, but it was just not as fun to be up in the middle of the night watching.
Yeah, so my experience, obviously I didn't stay up and watch it.
Yeah.
My experience was, I said our anniversary was yesterday. On Sunday, we went to this spa out in Nacka.
Mm-hmm. Is
kind of close to No, it's really close to Yasaragi.
Okay.
But it's a different one.
I should believe like Yasaragi.
Yeah, because I actually don't like Yasaragi.
Whoa! Skip has spoken. Yasaragi.
I think Yasaragi is whack. I think it's overrated, overpriced.
You are trash!
And every time I see someone in Stockholm who had, because they have those robes that they give you can keep it. Every time I see someone who's got that Yasaragi robe, I'm like, fucking, you got guy, bro. Because that's how I felt when I went to Yasaragi. I didn't like it.
I love it. Is it because they don't do happy endings?
No, you know what my main problem with Yasaragi was, besides like the fact that it cost too much money?
You kept bumping into Justin Tucker?
No, it was like the whole thing. Like I went there with my wife so that we could spend time together in the spa.
Yeah.
But 90% of the things that you can do in the spa are like set in a separate, like you go to the sauna, it's like, oh, the sauna is in the women's have their own sauna. It's like, no, we want to fucking hang out. Like the only thing you can do together is fucking swim around in the pool. I'm like, this is dumb. I hate this. I came here to hang with my girl. I didn't come here to sit in a fucking sauna and look at some other guy's fucking old saggy nuts. You know what I mean?
Wrinkly butthole.
Yeah, I didn't. That's not why I'm here.
And then the sauna makes your nuts hang even farther down. So it's like, come on, man.
Yeah. So I was unimpressed with Yasaragi.
Well, where'd you go? Are you allowed? Do you mind giving them a shout out?
I mean, I would. I just don't. It's called Huepsbadet or Huep something or something like that. I don't know. It's like
Naka Huepsbad.
Sure. And it's a little more like, it's not nearly as nice or whatever, but it's like, Anyway, but the point I'm trying to make is that, two interesting things happen. Well, actually, three interesting things happen. I had a weird experience with the bartender who, for whatever reason, thought
anniversary threesome.
He was like this weird guy who, like, shared too much. Like he was definitely not Swedish.
Okay.
Like me and Joanna were playing backgammon, nice. And he was like, oh yeah, I can't play that game anymore. And we were like, oh, why? Is it like it's too intense for you? And he's like, well, the last time I played it, I punched some guy in the nose. So, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, who are you? Like, what is your problem?
Why did you share that? Yeah.
Why are you sharing that? And then he goes away and 10 minutes later, he comes back with a tray of shots.
Oh, he's going to punch another guy in the nose.
Like he had 3 shots. It wasn't about like he wanted
shots.
It's not like he didn't want to give shots to me and Joanna. He wanted an excuse to do shots himself.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
he didn't work there?
Yeah, he was the bartender.
Oh, he worked there. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? It was just very strange. Anyway, he was weird. Food was great.
Cool.
And then, related to football, Okay, before I get to the related to football, I had a weird. I'm gonna say this kind of low tones because we have thin walls here. It's the anniversary,
What?
right? Exactly. We're doing our thing. Nice room. We had these sliding glass doors where you could see the water. We had a view of the water, which is very nice. You know what I mean? And we're listening to music as we're, doing what we do.
Okay.
And you kind of get lost in the moment, of course, if you're doing it right.
Yeah, if you're doing it right.
If you're doing it right, you get lost in the moment. The music's there. It's there, and it's happening. Anyway, working towards that climactic moment where you just can't hold it back no more. And you explode like a geyser. And in that moment, we were listening to this playlist, great voices and 60s jazz, basically, right? At the moment where it all comes to its climax, and I'm finally catching my catching my breath. The song that we're listening to ends, and it's a live song, and the audience starts to applaud. The timing could not have been more perfect.
So you bust a nut. Oh my God. And they're like
100%. I can't even tell you how perfect the timing was. It was ridiculous. And then, of course, we both just start cracking up. It was hilarious.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
It was so funny.
And if you tried to time it and make it happen, it would never work.
No,
it would never. If you tried to do it on purpose, it would never work. And people, if you put it in a movie, people wouldn't believe it.
No,
but this shit really happened. That's dope.
Not in a million years. But related to football, as we were lying in bed, it's around midnight, and we're watching regular TV. Because you're in a hotel, you're like, oh fuck it, let's just watch regular TV.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we get hooked in. We watched this hour-long documentary about eagles. The life of eagles, different kinds of eagles. Bald eagles, brown eagle, all these different eagles and stuff. And I'm sitting there watching this thing about eagles as I'm fading off to sleep. And I'm thinking to myself, these eagles are fucking, they're dope. The shit that they can do, the way they control their body, the way that they can see.
The way that they can demolish an offensive line.
And I was thinking, as I drifted off to bed, I was like, I wonder if this documentary about eagles that I'm seeing right now, I have this feeling that as I'm closing my eyes, I think the next time I open my eyes, which is going to be in the morning, I have this strong feeling that these eagles are going to win the fucking Super Bowl.
Wow.
And I woke up.
Intuition.
And obviously, whatever, eagles are eagles, but, if you can choose to have dogs, you should have some fucking dogs. Because honestly, I was not prepared for what I was going to read when I woke up the next morning. Obviously, you watched it live.
Yeah.
We spoke about this at length last week about how, obviously the Eagles couldn't make any mistakes. They were going to have to bring it.
Oh, one
yeah, of course they made some mistakes, but it turns out it didn't really matter. And there were so many things about this game that we assumed that Saquon Barkley was going to if the Eagles were going to win, Saquon was going to have an amazing game. That didn't happen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We assumed, we assumed that the Chiefs were going to be the Chiefs, and the fact that we talked all ad nauseum.
We focused on the Chiefs' defense too. We're like that defense, Spags, blah blah blah. But it's don't forget that other side, man.
Yeah, and we spoke ad nauseum about Vic Fangio being 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
And I would argue that he's still only 1-8 versus Patrick Mahomes. But how cool is it that one is the fucking Super Bowl?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what I didn't realize, one of the things that I didn't know. I'm just going to blow my shit got learned because we're not going to do that shit. No. Vic Fangio has been coaching in the NFL since 1986.
Yeah.
Obviously this is 38 years. here's his first Super Bowl win.
Wow.
I mean that's crazy.
It makes sense too, like leaving the Dolphins, like knowing that was the place to go. Like, you know what I mean? Because he did a decent job in Miami. They didn't leave on bad terms. He was just like, I was gonna. It's better here. Like, he knew the pieces that he needed. I like when the coordinator does it. It was a lateral move. Probably, I think it was a pay cut too, because I think the Dolphins were paying him, like, he was making more than the head coach. Makes the lateral move for the right reasons. Knows that's the defense that can execute his plan, and fucking masterpiece of defense on the field.
Yeah, and specifically like how it was done. Like when you read after the fact that, you know, I mean, what did they say? How many times did they sack him? Six times? 6 sacks. Rushing a front four, 0 blitzes in the entire game, and got pressure on almost 50% of Mahomes' dropbacks. Like, I mean, honestly, you know, to watch the game, we watched it last night, and to see the way that they played, you know, the real flaw in Kansas City's offensive game plan was that you know that Jalen Carter is an absolute fucking monster to deal with, right? So he got double and sometimes triple teamed, rushing 4, which, you know, only meant that, you know, you're going to have to deal with Nolan Smith. You're going to have to deal with Josh Sweat, who had 2.5 sacks. You're going to have to deal with all these other guys who were just coming at you. I mean, the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs is something that has always been kind of, you know, somewhat of a weird fluke, because it's kind of duct taped together with bubble gum and sticks and whatnot, and they've somehow have managed to make it to the Super Bowl year after year, even though they have never really addressed their offensive line problem.
It might need to now.
It really fell apart on them in this game.
The problem, and it looked a lot like that Tampa game where they got basically manhandled, but it just shows it. It shows the importance of, like, it's a team game, man. Mahomes is still the best player in the NFL, but if he's running for his life, he's still running for his goddamn life. Right. You're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, and even in that Tampa game when he was running for his life, he was making plays, you know what I mean? Or he was making plays and his teammates were
they were dropping the ball and shit.
Yeah, but in this game Mahomes was just he was just bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was clearly the worst game of his career for sure. I mean, the Eagles had more points at the half than the Chiefs had yards.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
I mean,
insane.
and then of course, you know, in the late third quarter and the fourth quarter, the Chiefs are out here putting all the lipstick on the pig just to fucking put 20-something points up on the board so it doesn't look so bad. But this is up there with all-time Super Bowl blowouts, I would argue.
And you know what was crazy was that as I was like, it took until midway into the third quarter when I was like, okay, it's over. It's like, because we're seeing it over and over again, and teams come back and make it a thing, and it was just like one team is way better than the other. Like the matchup, the styles make fights or whatever they say in boxing.
Sure,
this was the perfect game plan style matchup for the Eagles. There's no way they're coming back. It was like, okay, it's over. I almost was like gonna go home, but I had to watch the whole thing.
I thought it was kind of one of the dumbest moments in the game, and I guess it's kind of it. In some ways, it's dumb. In some ways, I guess it's sort of a compliment to Patrick Mahomes. But the Jalen Hurts deep shot to Devontae Smith, that touchdown, where Brady goes, and that might just be the dagger. And it's like, it's 34 to nothing. What are you talking about? That is not the dagger was a long time ago. But it's
Mahomes is 0-2 when Tom Brady's in the building during the Super Bowl. So just think about that.
That's true. That's
so it might
true.
be Tom Brady.
Well, also, who else? I saw another the flip side of that. What was it? Nick Foles, I think. fired off a tweet that the Eagles are 2-0 with Tom Brady.
That's great.
Which I thought was kind of funny. I mean, some of the other guys who deserve to be mentioned for sure. I mean, how cool is it that Cooper DeJean wins the Super Bowl while also getting a pick six on his 22nd birthday.
It was his birthday too?
Yeah, it was his 22nd. Him and Saquon had birthdays on the same day.
Jeez, 22 years old, man. It sucks to know that you peaked in life that day.
Sure.
I feel like my peak is still out in front of me. It would have sucked to peak at. Oh, well, some people peak in high school, so.
That's true. That's true. The other guy who has a great storyline is obviously Zach Bond. You know, he starts off the first 6 years of his career as a average to below average edge rusher for the Saints. The Eagles turn him into an all-world off-ball linebacker, and he gets a pick in the Super Bowl that's being played in the building where he started his career. It's like, I mean, he's been. I mean, he was arguably certainly a defensive player of the year candidate this year. This guy kind of just came out of nowhere. You know, the other thing, another great image from the Super Bowl was AJ Brown scoring a touchdown. He hits the LeBron James celly.
Yeah.
And then he goes back to the sideline to read his Inner Excellence book. It's just like, what is happening? It's so crazy.
No, they plugged another book into, and it's like just hold this one this time.
And I love that I mean, I don't know how, you know, it's so hard to know how to unpack the narrative of this whole Chiefs referee conspiracy thing, but you know, obviously this game was just like any other game. There were some bad calls that went either way.
Both ways,
My favorite non-call was obviously the sack fumble where Jalen Carter's being, you know, he's got the offensive lineman has literally got him like in a chokehold trying to hold him back, and he bull rushes the guy and just fucking stiff arms Mahomes in the face as he's fumbling because somebody else has swiped the ball out of his hands, which clearly could have been a roughing the passer penalty.
If they called that, if they would have called that, then the conspiracy theorists would have been going nuts.
Yeah, but it's like, to me, like, I feel like of all the plays that I saw from the game, like, if you take that image from a certain angle and just press pause, give me a still frame, that is essentially the story of the game.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many narratives in that one still image of, you know, the actual gameplay, the pressure, the turnover, the hand to the face, fuck you.
Yeah.
The fact that he has all that dog in him, the fact that they didn't throw a flag, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much, like, I just feel like that image told you, like, it just print that, hang it up and say, what happened in Super Bowl 59? Just say this is what happened. I mean, what else can you say about this game, really, other than I'm kind of curious. Do you think that this boils for the Chiefs? Was this just a case of offensive hubris? Like,
I don't know, man. I think it's a case of running up against a better team. That's what it came down to. We didn't want to accept that a better team can beat this combination of Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Spagnuolo. Because on the other side, you have another, as you said, since 1986, this dude's been doing it. It's like, those ain't chumps on the other side over there. You know? So if you can get the two Super Bowls that the Patriots lost to the Giants, it was the same type of formula. Get pressure with your front four, which leaves, 7 people in coverage. And to do other shit, you know what I mean? And maybe the coverage is also a little tricky too, so make you think another second longer, which gives them another second to get to you. You know what I mean? So that was the formula is out there, and they had the personnel to do it. Most teams can't get a defensive tackle attracting 2 or 3 guys that makes it easy for the edge guys to get around and demolish your tackles.
That's a great point, because I think, they always say like, take what the defense gives you, let the game come to you kind of thing. And the Chiefs have done a very good job of that. Obviously these past couple of years of changing their offense on the fly. Yeah. They've transformed away from, a deep shot offense to more of a kind of short yardage, kind of move the ball in 3 to 4 yard chunks down the field. And so it wasn't until the late third quarter and obviously throughout the fourth quarter where they just adjusted too late. They just didn't realize where it just took them too long to figure out what game they were in, because when Mahomes started chucking it, the 2 touchdowns, that one deep shot to Worthy, Worthy, at the end of the game, Worthy has 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. And one of them was just like a deep shot in between the 2 safeties, and Worthy comes up with it. Great. I mean, just an absolute perfect pass, dropped it right into a bucket. But it's like, I don't think the Chiefs were desperate enough in the first half of the game. They didn't.
Yeah. They didn't play like these guys have our number, but they also, these guys they don't have time to do that play earlier in the game because these dudes are terrorizing their offensive line. Once the Gatorade is poured on Sirianni's head, the defense is in prevent. You know what I'm saying? Or they're like playing just a standard vanilla defense. So it's easier to do that shit at the end of the game.
I mean, he got the Gatorade bath before the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, it's
that's another image that can tell you everything you need to know about this game.
So and it was green. The Gatorade was green,
right? Which makes sense. But I thought, the key moments in the game where the defense really, those moments where they're down by 14. And these are the moments where there's like no panic at that point. The Chiefs have come down from 14 before. Right. That's not a big deal. Yeah. Also knowing that they're going to get the ball out of the half, right? So it's like, okay, well, here's that moment where Kansas City can put some points on the board and then double them up on the backside, but then he throws the pick six.
Yep.
Right. And all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, wait, okay. All right. Well, yeah, but still no panic, no panic. It's okay. And then they put together another drive and then boom, there comes the other interception. And it's like, God damn it. Like, what is going, like, before you know it, it's like, and they've been down 24 before as well, in the playoffs. I think they had a game against the Texans.
The Eagles remember that. They're like, okay, they've been 24. Let's make it 27.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's make it 34. It's like,
the Eagles,
that ass, man.
The Eagles went into this and took nothing for granted whatsoever. My first question regarding the halftime show, I mean, right out of the gate, how did he fit all those people inside of that little car?
I was looking under the car, too, to see if it was like a false bottom, but it looked like I could see through, but maybe there was some mirrors or something. I was trying to figure it out, too. But it was dope, man. There was
so many people in that car. I was really impressed.
I'm surprised they didn't get a ticket.
Right.
All those blacks in the car. But it was the halftime show, man.
I feel like I need to, like, I was, okay, first impression, super impressed.
Yeah.
But I almost feel like I am just, so for me, I'll say, full disclosure, I obviously, I know who Kendrick Lamar is. I'm loosely familiar with the beef thing with Drake. I've never, my introduction to Kendrick Lamar was essentially like, oh, they gave the Pulitzer Prize to some rap artist. Who's that guy? Like, I didn't really know who he was until they said he got the Pulitzer Prize. And I started to read about him at that time and was just like, well, that's cool, because me, like, I want my shit to mean something. You know what I mean? And to me, I would argue that in a lot of cases, hip hop, and because I was around when hip hop started, you know what I mean? When it meant something, when it was about something.
It was where for the most part, it was like social commentary.
Yeah, and I also watched it sort of drift away from that, and that's when I was like, kind of
the mainstream. Well, I'll put it this way: the mainstream art of hip hop at first was social commentary, then it went to party, and it kind of then it went kind of thuggish or whatever, and it never really came back to mainstream being social commentary. But Kendrick is a mix of that, of like somehow took social commentary mainstream again.
But of course,
social commentary, but introspection and thought, and like deeper than just dope beats and
yeah. And obviously, my kids are sort of my conduit to pop culture, so they have been kind of getting me up to speed on all things related to Kendrick and Drake and the music and stuff. And in the week leading up to the Super Bowl, I started to listen to more of his music, and I'm just like, as I start to listen to it, I'm like, man, this guy is doing something really like
phenomenal. That's phenomenal,
amazing. My only critique is that I think that his style of rap doesn't translate super great to a Super Bowl setting in the sense that it's difficult to hear.
I got some thoughts about that.
It was difficult to hear the lyrics as clearly as you would want to hear them. Like, to me, Kendrick is one of those artists where like I'm excited. I'm just at the tip of the iceberg right now with him. And one of the things that I've enjoyed the most is when I listen to him. He's one of those artists who, like, I want headphones.
Yeah.
I want to hear everything.
Yeah.
I want to hear it all. And I love that I haven't, even though I've heard it all, I've heard an entire song, I still feel like I didn't get the whole thing. I want to go back and hear it again. Like, I need, it's like a great book or a great film that you keep thinking about when it's over. You know what I mean?
It's the same with that performance, though, that it's so layered that when you watch it again, it's going to be aha moments throughout. So it's like a Super Bowl performance that you have to consume more to get the whole thing. It's just like his albums. He has concept albums, and then you're like, oh, one of his albums is backwards. Like, the story is told if you listen to the tracks backwards, like on his Damn album. And so it's like it's something. It's amazing. So like that performance was like him being at odds. The way I understand it now is it was him being at odds with the fact that he's in the most commercial thing ever, but he got into hip hop because he wanted to be the storyteller and all this stuff and enlighten the people, so to speak. But how do you do that without selling out at the most sellout thing ever? And that's why Uncle Sam Jackson, is trying to get him to sell out the whole time and play this ratchet ass battle track against this guy. But he's like, I got all this other shit to say. And that's why he does no choruses. He has catchy parts of his song, but he doesn't do any of them in any of the songs. He doesn't do the catchy shit from the songs. He does the lyric, the meat of the song, and then he skips to the next one. He does an unreleased track in his Super Bowl performance. A song that's not on any album. He does, which
ruined everybody's Super Bowl halftime bet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everybody who was like, "Oh, he's gonna start with this song." It's like, nope. I'm gonna start with a song you ain't never heard, bitch.
I'm gonna start with a song that you've heard a snippet of before, but I've never released it. Because he plays like that at the beginning of a song. You hear a piece of that song, and he does that to open the whole thing. It's like he's just being unpredictable and showing that there's a conflict within and all that stuff. The dude he's amazing. And then the visuals and all of that stuff. Having somebody with a Gaza flag and representing and all of that stuff is just...
Which apparently was unplanned. Nothing's unplanned. Yeah. I guarantee you there was nothing unplanned about that performance.
No, nothing. And it's amazing.
But that's why I loved it.
Dancing to it. The whole thing. I thought it was dope, and I like that he's showing what is possible with a Super Bowl performance. Instead of just playing the hits, it's like, think about it and express yourself.
I love the Samuel L. Jackson angle. I love what they did with that. I love what... I really, really liked. I got what he was doing, and was 100% here for it. I also love the stories that I'm hearing about Trump walking out on the performance in the middle of Be Humble. I don't know if it was, I doubt it was because he actually understood the song, but it was in that moment where he had those, the dancers who formed
the flag,
the American flag, but they also, there's so much symbolism where it's obviously the country's divided. They're all holding up the sort of Black Power fists. I think just them. I would guess that as soon as they put their fists in the air was probably the moment that Trump realized, I don't want to see this.
Yeah. We didn't want to see him put his fist in the air when he put everybody in jeopardy after getting shot at.
Exactly. There were some other, the other Trump sort of, I don't know if you really see these in connection, but, Taylor Swift gets booed, Trump gets cheered.
I didn't see it. I didn't catch that. Okay.
Yeah, Taylor Swift got booed when they put her on the jumbo screen. They were all Philly fans booing her, obviously.
Okay.
But then, of course, in the beginning, when during the national anthem, they cut to a shot of Trump, and the stadium cheered for the most part. Okay. Kind of told you a lot about where the country is at. Yeah. That being said, you have to think of the socioeconomic class of people who can actually afford a Super Bowl ticket.
Exactly.
So there's that to consider. It's literally like tens of thousands of dollars just to get a fucking nosebleed seat. So it's like, these are not people who typically care about.
They definitely don't look like the people a mile outside of the stadium.
No, exactly. Exactly.
They definitely don't look like those people in whatever they call it, Ninth Ward or whatever.
Yeah. 90% of the black people in the stadium were performing.
Or playing.
Or playing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
So I was really, really impressed with his performance.
He also took shots at Drake. That was great.
Yeah, of course. All this stuff leading up. Oh, I wonder if he's not going to play it because he's being sued. I was like, fuck, bitch, he's playing that song.
Did you hear he said that?
Yeah, of course.
The people like to sue.
I was like, he's 100% playing that song.
And then he looks in the camera, say Drake. Say Drake. I hear you like I'm young.
And he's wearing the chain
A
with
minor.
The diamond A minor. It's like
with a little A. Yeah, that's dope. And then they say game over at the end of like this it's a wrap. Like you're done. Yeah. Drake's album comes out this Friday if you're interested. He got a new album coming out.
Nobody's interested in it. Did we talk about this? Did I tell you where Drake was for Super Bowl Sunday?
No.
I didn't tell you this?
No.
We didn't talk about this?
I don't remember talking about it.
I learned about this in the days leading up to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Drake scheduled a concert in Australia. Literally on the other side. Like,
wow.
Australia is the only place in the world where Super Bowl Sunday is actually on Monday.
Yeah.
Wow. This man went to the other side of the universe.
He tried to time travel. Tried to get past that shit. He's like, you know what? I'm going to Monday.
Yeah. Sunday don't exist.
Wow. I didn't know he did that. But I know he's got an album coming out Friday. And this, to me, is like last chance. Because the stuff he's released since the beef has been trash. And it might be over, man. I've never been a big fan of his. I've always respected his ability to make good music, but I've never been like a fan. And then the more I've learned about him, this beef really exposed him as like kind of not even the pedophile stuff. Obviously, that's exaggerated, but the other stuff of him that he never addressed, of him being a culture vulture and a bad person and a gambling addict and all of that shit. And
it's funny. It's like in the converse reaction to my first kind of exposure to Kendrick Lamar, it was like, damn, this guy's dope as shit. But I get the hype now. My first exposure to Drake, obviously I had heard about him, but I never listened to him. The first song I ever heard from Drake was God's Plan.
Good song.
But I heard the song along with the video
Okay, I don't remember the video.
And first of all, I hate that phrase.
Yeah,
God's plan. I fucking hate.
You're like me on that. Yeah.
I fucking hate that phrase. And I also hate it when people. I fucking hate it at the end of the Super Bowl when they talk about, we did this because God, and it's like, you think God said, oh yeah, the Eagles are winning this Sunday? Stop it!
Out of here
like, just stop.
Yeah. Get over yourself.
And you see the same thing, especially where we come from. We have a lot of natural disasters. It's like, God spared our house, and it's like, okay,
what about the ones he destroyed?
Yeah. Did God say fuck your neighbor? Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, but that God's plan video where he's walking around just like giving money to people
and stuff happens? Like, okay, I didn't know that.
You go back and watch, and I was like, A, I hate this phrase. B, like, it just. There's the things in that video that I was just like, you know what? I don't fucking like this guy. I hate him. So I hated him immediately.
Fuck that guy.
Wow. Okay.
And then, of course, I think it's funny that everything he bets on, he loses, and all this. I think that's funny.
I think it's corny too. That he's wearing different jerseys, doesn't have like whatever team is hot and all that. I've always found that corny. The corny, my when I turned on that guy was when I saw an image of him at a strip club holding a big stack of money. Okay, but looking sad. And I was just like, this is not, this person is a poser. Being in a strip club, throwing money around is one thing. And some people might have their feelings about that. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. That wouldn't be what I would judge. But being in a feeling like you need to be in a strip club, throwing money around to look cool, even though you're not really having a good time, to me, that's where I was like, this dude's corny, man.
Yeah.
He just looked sad in the club with a bunch of money in his hand. It's like, why are you there? You don't have to be there. You don't have to throw this money around, but you think it's what you should do because you're posing. So that's when I was out, and I was really glad that he went up against I love it when a real rapper goes against a commercial rapper in a little beat. Not the first time either. There's a rapper Common that went at Drake, but Drake didn't respond. We listened to that yesterday. I was in here with Amat listening to Common calling him out, man. But yeah, it was great to see the conclusion of the craziest rap beef ever.
Yeah, and it was great to see the conclusion of the NFL season, even though it's sad that it's over. Yeah. At the end of the day, as much as you spend the majority of the NFL season, kind of week after week discussing the inevitability of Mahomes and the Chiefs and Andy Reid. Meanwhile, the Eagles are like that, toxic marriage that always finds a way to, work itself out in the end. That makes it kind of easy to forget that they hadn't lost a game since September.
Yeah.
The Eagles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, week after week, you're talking about like, oh, this person's mad, this person's pissed, Sirianni's not talking to Hurts, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they just keep winning games.
Figured it out.
It's kind of hard to remember also, which I don't even believe it, but, you go back and look and it happened. I mean, the Eagles lost to the Falcons this year. It's like, what the fuck? No, how did that happen? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, but it's you got to have respect for these Eagles. I'm still confused about what Nick Sirianni does as a coach. I think it's hilarious that he went from being a potential in-season fire to now being, well, hey guys, he's been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, and now he's got one. Mm-hmm. His winning percentage is great.
Like 60-something%, 70%.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like he's got a better winning percentage than John Madden. It's like, and it's not like Madden coached for that long, Anyway, it's going to be fascinating to see how they run it back next year. I mean, I think they're going to be, a lot of the key parts of their defense are all still on their rookie deals.
They can keep it together.
All those Bulldogs are still only 2 years in. They're 2 years removed from back-to-back national championships, and now they got a fucking Super Bowl. this team will fall apart in a couple of years when all those guys are due to get paid for sure.
But, I mean, their GM is over here kicking ass and taking names, though. Roseman. Isn't that his name? Roseman?
Howie Roseman, yeah.
He's over here kicking ass and taking names. He put together the best roster in football. I've been saying it all year. Best roster
100%.
in football. And now, and they're still young. And he's going to keep willing and dealing, I think, man. Maybe he'll get some players from... I don't know.
Maybe.
That's my new sound effect on the soundboard. I had to debut.
I like that. I feel like week after week I try to bring the U in because I feel like I'm overdoing the dog thing.
Oh no, it's all good.
But
now it's right next to the grapefruit on the soundboard.
Which is precisely where it should be.
And now we got your quarterback. We got your quarterback now.
That's true.
So if he goes into the league and makes some noise, then it's gonna be a little bit.
We're gonna have all eyes on Carson Beck next year. That's gonna be fascinating to see.
Let's see what happens. I think it's a little bit of a drop off from Ward, but I'll take it.
Yeah. We'll talk about him at some point. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
So now that the season's over, we have a few interesting dates to keep in mind.
Yeah.
The NFL Combine is really soon.
Next month. Yeah, next month.
Don't
February they try to do something once a month now?
Pretty much, yeah. Combine starts February 24th.
Jeez.
And goes till March 3rd. The February 18th to March 4th is when teams can begin applying a franchise tag on any of their free agents. And March.
Did they schedule when the Saints will pick a coach?
Well, the rumor on that is that it's probably Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I've heard that, but they should do it.
Who just won the Super Bowl. I mean, technically you can't hire him until after the Super Bowl, but
it's been 2 days.
March 12th is when free agency window opens.
Nice. That's when we're going to
be. Yeah. Totally. Which, obviously, we talk, I mean, by all accounts, it appears that the Jets are going to cut Aaron Rodgers.
He's cut.
He's officially cut then.
Yeah, man. Aaron Rodgers is gone. Aaron Glenn said he didn't want to take the reins with Rodgers on the roster.
I don't know why he would want to.
And it lets Aaron go do what he needs to do to find a team and lets them move on. So I think I'm surprised that the Jets did that, but it shows that Glenn might be the real deal. Because that's something Saleh could have done, but he was slobbing on Rodgers' knob when he got there. Instead of he didn't make it his team. You know what I mean? He let Rodgers take over the team.
I don't think Robert Saleh really had any choice.
I mean, you still don't have to. I think there's a few coaches that would have been like, "All right, he's welcome on the team, but he's a player." You know what I mean? You go to the GM and say, Lazard is not coming here. You know what I'm saying? You could be like, no, I don't want this. You know what I mean? He kind of laid over. He kind of laid down flat and let Rodgers implement all the stuff he wanted. It seems, but it looks like Glenn was not about that life.
Fair point. I mean, that brings up the obvious question of who's going to play quarterback for the Jets this coming year. The rumor
like that. You like that.
Sure, he is Cousins. It's up in the air with Cousins. Most people think that we're going to cut him rather than trade him. So there might be news about him being cut soon as well. The rumor is that it's not a very good quarterback draft. It's also not a very good free agency for quarterbacks this year, unlike it has been in the past years. The top quarterback in free agency this year is 100% Sam Darnold, but he's not going to go. He's not going to go back to the Jets.
Yeah.
They're not going to. That's not going to happen. Zach Wilson, also a Jets cast-off. Trey Lance.
Where Tannehill at, man?
Tannehill's still out there on the couch. You got
Flacco coming back. It seems like all the quarterbacks have been through the Jets.
Here's a list. He's on this list. Here's the list of top free agency quarterbacks: Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Jacoby Brissett, Marcus Mariota, Drew Lock, Jared Stidham, and Andy Dalton, Justin Fields. Justin Fields.
We said that from the gate.
Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Mac Jones. Russell Wilson, obviously. I mean, nobody knows what the Steelers are going to do.
Deshaun Watson?
Yeah. No, he's not going to play. He's probably not even going to be available to play next year, regardless of whatever the situation is because of his Achilles.
Yes.
Tommy DeVito's a free agent.
He don't have to go that far. From my mom's basement.
Former Falcon, Desmond Ritter.
This is a bad list, bro.
It's a bad list.
But then,
really
and then they don't even have a great draft pick, right?
What is the draft order, actually?
Trade up for Cam Ward. Trade up, Jets. Were they like 8th or 9th or something like that?
They are 7th.
7th, okay. Okay.
You got
that's some capital.
Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jags, Raiders, and then Jets.
Man, people thought the Jags were going to the fucking deep in the playoffs.
I mean, of those teams, obviously Tennessee, Cleveland, New York. There's rumors that Cousins might go to the Giants. But you saw some shit about maybe Matthew Stafford going to the Giants too.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
If they figure that out, then the Giants would trade back. They could probably fleece the Jets.
The problem is that, of all these teams in the top 7, I would say
quarterbacks.
1, 2. I would say there's only one team in the top 7 who's not looking for a quarterback, and that's the Patriots.
Oh yeah, because they got
That's it.
Brady.
You got Titans, Browns, Giants. Jacksonville. They don't need a quarterback either. Generational talent. No, but that's
they got. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but they might lose him in free agency, bro.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
The whole team's going to fall apart when he leaves the building. So two teams in the top 7 are definitely not picking a quarterback in the first round, right?
Yeah, they're going to have a good offensive coordinator that can work around it. Yeah.
The other interesting thing, which we can get into later as we get closer to the draft, is this whole Shedeur Deion situation. Deion Sanders has made it clear in the media that his son, there are certain teams that he's just not going to let Shedeur play for. He is fully prepared. I think he's pretty smart, actually. He's getting ahead of it.
Caleb Williams did the same thing.
Yeah, and it's basically the Eli Manning situation, from back in the day. And the rumor is that Deion is making the rounds with these top teams and basically telling their GMs, like, look, don't pick him and we're good. Like, let's keep this, like, you don't think like, oh yeah, I'm just going to show up and pick if you pick him, then it's going to get loud. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The other downside to picking Shedeur Sanders, which again we can elaborate more on later, Deion has also made it quite clear that he's not willing to coach in the NFL unless he's coaching his son. If you pick, say you're the Tennessee Titans, right? Say you're what's his name, Brian Callahan. Yeah. You pick Shedeur Sanders. It doesn't go well. Guess who's going to take your job next year?
That makes him the least attractive for any coach.
Same thing with the Giants. Dayball is certainly on the hot seat.
Yeah.
They pick Shador.
Why would I pick
terrible.
Him? Yeah. Why would I pick him?
No, I'm saying
you're waiting to take my place.
You pick him and just know that Deion Sanders is going to be in the media criticizing you every Sunday.
Yeah, fuck that.
Just lining up to take your job. So
I wouldn't have said that part out loud if I was Deion.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out, for sure. Which brings me to the last important date that I wanted to mention, which is the draft, April 24th through 26th, taking place in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Yeah. I think it'd be kind of cool to go to the draft sometime, but
yeah,
I don't want to go to Green Bay. I'd rather go somewhere else.
We got to talk to our sponsors.
Yeah, Brisket and Friends. Hook us up.
They'll send us anywhere, man. Been waiting all this time, man. All they have is the table breaker. That's all we get is a table breaker, man. In our honor.
It's whack.
It's whack, y'all. Oh, man. Well, it's been another fun season with you, man. This is our 5th season of SveNFL. Yeah. And we're continuing this season through this offseason. Or does the season end now and we begin season 6? That's how it goes. We're wrapping up season 5, starting up season 6 for the offseason. And thanking y'all for another fun year of SveNFL. And, yeah. It's been dope, man. You got any more to add?
Well, only that, we have not really, just to the audience in general. Well, first of all, thanks for continuing to listen to us ramble about football and all things non-football that tend to come up on the show. But yeah, me and Jonathan are going to get together and discuss how we're going to rock the off season, or how frequently we're going to obviously take a little bit of a break, but I don't think we're going to take a break for we got some things that we want to nerd out on.
Yeah.
And obviously these important dates, free agency, draft, all this stuff, maybe come back with a mock draft. Jonathan loves mock draft. So I'm going to I am going to start working on that mock draft now. Because I know that it's for him, it's like Christmas. It's I can't wait for Skip's mock draft.
Yeah, I love me a good mock draft in the morning.
Yeah, mock draft in the morning. I love the smell of mock drafts in the morning. And I'm excited. You have been talking about doing a deep dive on the coaching.
Yeah,
it's time. Situation.
It's been a few years. Yeah.
And I'm kind of looking forward to that as well. I'm curious to see what you come up with. And I also have something that I can't remember, but I have written down on a piece of paper here on my desk somewhere. And when I find out what it is. But yeah, so we'll be back soon-ish.
Yeah.
We're winging it.
Yeah. Keep us in your podcast feeds because you never know, something will pop up.
Also, well, I don't know. We didn't talk about this before, but it's just occurring to me now. For anyone who's listening, if there's something you would like to know more about, I don't know. If you want to email us and say hey,
what's SveNFLpod@gmail.com. SveNFLpod@gmail.com.
What's the deal with this? It would be oh, okay.
Yeah. And the Seinfeld voice. What's the deal with the NFC North?
Right.
So yeah, hit us up, man. Thank y'all. Oh, we're wrapping up this season 5, which was also 2024 season. Thank y'all so much for checking it out. We will be back sporadically throughout the offseason, so stay tuned, man. It's been Jonathan Rollins,
Skip me Sarah
with SveNFL. Peace.
Later, y'all.